Yesterday, I continued working on this sidebar navigation. So the current state is that this is collapsible. It's great, already found the first bug, I guess. So let's start here. Should be collapsible, but the width is not set correctly. I hope that it works on mobile at least. So here, yeah, this looks fine. I see that we should actually hide this collapse button here. Let me write a quick to-do for this. Hide collapse button on mobile. We don't need that there. So we can, this works fine. Now on desktop, we also have the problem that the navigation bar should be not so wide anymore. Let me fix that first. So we have the container. Let's check here in the DevTools. So the navigation bar has a width, but the important part is here, the div container, and this still has the same width. So here we already have the is collapsed prop. I guess we need to move this to the media query for desktop. So let's check now. That looks better, but not perfect. So the navigation bar, now the header also seems to have a fixed width. Here, yeah. What happens if I just remove that? Still looks fine, so I guess we can simply, yeah, it looks totally fine. So let's remove the width from the header. Okay, that wasn't it. Okay, I guess I removed this the wrong width. So I removed the mobile width and not the desktop. So let's see. Yeah, perfect. Now it works fine. Also on mobile, I hope. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, so fix this header hide on desktop. And the next step would be to hide the collapse button. So this one here. So we can use again styled components on this. And collapse menu item. Now the problem that we will have now is that the styles won't be applied, I guess. Let's check. And So the media query. So by default, since we do mobile first, this will be display none. And then on desktop, this will be display block. I'm not sure what the default is for menu item actually, but so here it seems fine. But I suspect that this won't be hidden on mobile yet. Yes, and here we can probably see why. So this list item, it doesn't have the correct styles yet. The problem is that styled, when we wrap the component like this, styled will assign a class name. So here you can see two classes, but they are the same for both menu item buttons here. And this one should get an additional class. So the problem probably is that menu item button doesn't accept a class name yet. So let's add that here. This will be optional. And then the list item can get the class name. So this should work fine now. List item. Normal side component, so this shouldn't be a problem now. Let's check. Yeah, now it's gone. So also let's double check just to explain what happened. So we still have both list items here, but this one got two additional classes actually. Not sure why. Others probably one for mobile, one for no, I don't know. So SC, I don't see that anywhere, and then this one has the display none style. Okay, so this also works fine. Hides collab button on mobile. So immediately we found two bugs. Actually, the first one, like the design still shows the collapse button, but this again is design error. This can happen quite frequently, so also front-end developers always have to like watch carefully what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. Now the last thing that I wanted to do is to add a Cypress test. So I have done this to do, and then add a mobile Cypress test. So let me quickly show you. I guess yesterday we created this first Cypress test for the desktop version, and now I also would like to do a test for the mobile version. I can quickly run Cypress. So npm run Cypress. This is defined in my package.json here. Cypress open. Now this is off screen. So here, this is the Cypress UI. Again, usually, like I guess most of the tests written in production applications are actually written with nowadays React testing library. But for beginners, my experience is that it's really hard to get started with testing because it feels like a completely new environment. And Cypress has the great advantage from my perspective that you can really see what's happening in a headless browser. This is not even headless, so you can really watch the tests executing here. So these are the tests that that I wrote yesterday. And here you can see like find by text collapse. So it's looking for the collapse button here at the end. You can see the current state at this step of the navigation bar. Now it clicks. Then this collapses, which is expected behavior. Now it finds the navigation by role and find all by role link, okay? And then it tests, I guess. So it uses the first link and then does something with it. Yeah, so it tries to get the issues text and then it asserts that this text is not visible. So basically this says, yeah, all the links are still there, but the text is not visible, so it's collapsed. Now we also have the mobile version. And the mobile version, as you saw, behaves slightly different. So the navigation bar is hidden at first, and then when you click this, it appears. So I would like to test that as well, since the navigation bar is quite an important feature for the user. If this doesn't open, they cannot really navigate the app and cannot really use it. So we better test that. Now, I'm not sure how to test different like viewports with Cypress, so let's check the documentation. Okay, maybe that's not the best query, so Cypress viewport. So let's see, can we do that in a separate before each? Okay, so this is actually how you do that. So you can use a context. Let's copy paste this. And then let's see, we'll move that off screen. I don't care about all devices. I just call it mobile resolution, and then we can use, let's see, iPhone 8, for example. Doesn't really matter. So let's call it iPhone 8. Let's be a bit modern here. And now I would, let's see. So this is actually interesting. Let's see if we have like an menu SVG. So what we need to do now is render this, then we find this icon and click it, and then we check if the navigation bar is open. So before each, okay, this should happen anyway. So we have here one before each. Visit this, the home page basically, and then show sidebar navigation after clicking the hamburger icon. Let's call it menu icon. Okay, so now let's see if we can do something like find by role. I'm not sure if we can do that. And then image and check source maybe. Check again the documentation before trying out like so React testing library find image get image by source. So that's also a smart way, of course. So let's check then sidebar navigation. We have here the alt text, open menu. So we can actually try something like this. Close menu. And now let's see, find by alt text, open menu. And then click. Let's see what happens. So again, open the Cypress Test, mobile resolution. Okay, cool. That was actually easier than I expected. We can just, because we don't want to wait for all the tests all the time, we can wrap this with only, or maybe we can also, don't know if that works. Yes. So we can run only the mobile tests for now. So actually, something that we should test before probably is that sidebar navigation is hidden initially. So let's see, find by role, then navigation, and then should not exist. So I'm basically checking the previous tests for the correct syntax. I'm not used anymore to writing Cypress tests, but so it's always handy if you already have some tests that you could copy paste from. So now this one here, it was continuously found. Okay. So it's the navigation is actually there, but I thought that Cypress tests the visibility, but should be visible. I'm not sure. Should not be visible. Let's see. Okay, so navigation should not be visible. Let's see. We have this. I'm not sure if this is like partially visible or something. Let me quickly try to translate X like 200% just to be this menu overlay. So minus 200 just to check if this is responsible. Okay, it is actually visible, so maybe there's something. Cypress Test. Let's see if we can. I don't think that this works. Doesn't make sense anyways. Test of okay, this doesn't look really nice. Okay, so somebody had the same issue as we have now. Okay, so here we have some custom command, which is actually what we saw before. So this one seems to test if something is not in the viewport by checking its position compared to the window. Let's see what others have to say about that. Okay, let's try this first thing here. Is in viewport, is not in viewport. Here, this is a place where I can add the custom commands. Not sure if we need to refresh this, but so we can basically, this is not in viewport. Yeah. It'd be nice to make this chainable, of course. Let me try this quickly. So I'm not sure if this works. Let's see. Does it get the navigation here? Let's see if it gets it here. I don't think so. I'm not sure. I guess this should be. So we can just do that, obviously. So here they need an identifier. We could simply try this if this works in general for us. Like this. CY state. Okay, somebody had a alternative viewport. Okay, it seems that the previous version didn't work anymore. Okay, so this seems to work. Let's quickly write a function for this. Function is in viewport. So this is not typed, but Let's see if this works. Okay, yeah, it does. Now, how should we do this? In a bit nicer way. We quickly try to type this. What's this? jQuery HTML element. Okay. Can we import this from somewhere? But the test itself works. It's already good. Just need to make it a bit nicer. What's this? Is in viewport. Okay, that seems a bit. Let's see what this does. Rect top less than bottom. Okay, so actually this is set to be in the viewport. So this is the top of the navigation bar is here, 64, which is correct. Then the bottom is the bottom probably, and then the right is 328. The left is 0. Okay. Yeah, let's stop here for now. I will come back to this later, I guess. We can already test here that the links are shown. So basically, okay, so this works. Now it try to get all links, and then we can find the support button, find by role. I guess that's the button. See if that works. And support. Okay, this doesn't work. Find by text. We can do contains. Let's see if that works. And this is, I guess, yeah, matching elements. Okay, so we have multiple buttons actually. Fine by, I guess it's okay if we just do this and the text should exist, I guess. Okay, and then I hope this is not again the same problem. The collapse button. Collapse should not exist. Let's see if that works as well. Because the element is technically there, but it's hidden by CSS. Okay, so this is should not be. These visibility tests seem to be a bit problematic. Okay, here because it's display hidden, this works. I wonder if we can do something similar when this is collapsed. So just hide this as well, display hidden. The problem is that we can quickly do that. But the problem will be that this will then, like, when we click the X, this will immediately disappear. So it's not a good option, I guess. But let me show you quickly. So display and then block none. So this would solve our problem with the Cypress test, but so yeah, now the animation doesn't work anymore. Wondering if we can do something here with keyframes. We had the same problem yesterday already. So maybe we just skip this test. It's not super essential in the end. And I'm not sure if it's worth spending too much time on this. So did I remove this? No, not yet. Okay, so basically, let's remove this stuff here. So this hidden initially, like even if it wasn't, the navigation would be visible immediately, then the user could still use the app and we would find out pretty soon, I guess, by somebody looking at the app. So let's just remove this. I'm happy enough with this. So with this mobile test that the navigation bar is actually showing up. But yeah, actually the problem without having this test, so even let's do this quickly, even without clicking the hamburger item, now this test will pass probably. So that's, I guess, why we should have some kind of, yeah, So basically now this test is useless. We need some kind of check that this is working. So let me view this in viewport. Let me check how custom commands actually work in Cypress. Or we can just define this here, jQuery. I'm not sure where to import this from. We should have these somewhere. And this starts becoming slightly annoying here. Try this one more time. Let's go to this definition. So what I'm trying to do is to import the jQuery type from somewhere. I should install this in the project myself. Yeah, good question. Or alternatively, what I could just do is use this function element string, I guess. Get selector string, and then the selector not Yeah, maybe that's actually already enough. Check if that works. But now we actually have still the is in viewport, so the test is still not working. So this is not in viewport. Doesn't make sense. Let's see. Top should be less than bottom. Bottom should be greater than 0. So basically left should be the right to be, let's see, just best guess. So the right of the element should be equal 0. Let's see if that works. Okay, obviously something I don't understand. Some crucial part here. Let's see if that can also test this directly in the DevTools. And then hit bounding, line rect. Okay, so right is actually 0 here. That's interesting. So basically the test should pass, but it doesn't. guess we can also just use this, and then Cypress has dev tools as well. If I'm correct. And here we can check. Okay. Then let's okay, so this seems to be a much more annoying issue than I thought initially. So this actually seems fine. Seems like it got the right element, but for some reason the DOM rec doesn't give the correct position here. Yeah, I will take a break now, and then let's see, maybe I will continue today or tomorrow, but yeah, let me take a few minutes first. See you in a bit. Okay. I decided now for myself that it's not really worth continuing here at the moment. I guess I need a clear head and maybe do some research. But let's see, what do we have here? This makes sense to commit. Fixes manual can alt when okay. So I just won't commit this for now. Stop Cypress. And then push the branch. So now the main thing that I wanted to do was not write the Cypress test, but you never know what happens, right? So let's see. Prologue here. The main thing that I want to do is review my own code. So basically we open the PR here, I guess that was yesterday, and contains a lot of stuff, way too much for my taste, honestly, but yeah, since this is the very first real like coding task, there was still a lot of setup at the same time that I forgot or wasn't aware of. So I think it's fine for now to leave it as is. And yeah, we can do the code review by clicking here on files changed, as you saw probably. And now just go through each file and then basically check our own code. This is also how your teammates will view your pull requests. And then if something is strange, they will just leave comments here. We can do that as well. Usually I wouldn't do that on my own code, of course, but I just for you to see the process. Here this all looks fine. What's this? Not sure, I guess this was default. I don't mind. It's not very important here. So this is our mock router that is used in Storybook. Also leave it. Components button TSX. Okay, so basically here we remove the default styles, browser styles, and then it's just a clear button. Looks okay. This is also just exporting. We use this index.ts file to have this kind of public API. So maybe that's interesting to understand. Here the sidebar navigation, for example, contains 3 component files and then a story. So like to me it's clear that we should only use the sidebar navigation. But for the developer who didn't write this, it's not immediately clear, and they might also want to use menu item button or something. But if you have this kind of index.ts file as public API, as I said, it's immediately clear that you should only import the files that are actually exported in this index file. So I think this is a good way to keep some clarity. And it also is nice because then you don't have to import like components / sidebar navigation / sidebar navigation, but rather directly from sidebar navigation. So let's see. The menu item button. So one thing, like here it's still okay. You can still read this. But in the navigation, we will see that this gets way more complicated. So let me talk about that in a bit. So also looks fine. That's also fine. So this is the menu item link. It's this similar to this menu item button. But you can also see that there's some differences here. So it's actually interesting why. So this might be something that we could add here as a comment. I would guess that this also needs to have the same. And now you also see the problem of like duplicating this. In menu item link. So now we can add a single comment. We could also start a review. Yeah, that's fine here. So that's a good point. That probably tells us that something, that we missed something here. This list item also has a height. This doesn't have. So it's kind of interesting that these styles are different. Probably we just forgot. So this, yeah, this is a bit interesting because mostly we use REM units, but then suddenly there's pixels involved. And such a strange number like 51 pixel. This, yeah, it's strange. When you check the designs, we have the spacing here, and this actually, the designer should stick to this. So we have 48 pixel here, 3 REM. I actually don't see a reason to use 51 pixel, like just for the 3 pixel. Let's see, spacing. What's that? 12. Okay. Now seems okay. The border radius, I'm not sure. I wasn't really sure about using pixel REM. Like, I know that for accessibility reasons, it's better to use REM, but I wasn't really aware of the real reasons. So let's check pixel. I guess this so during my research I found this Stack Overflow question, which is pretty old, but here somebody explained like use pixel, and then this was 2012, and then somebody actually said, yeah, this was a great answer, but nowadays we should use REM. And the reason they say is that people might actually, so the zoom of the browser isn't a problem anymore, because this is just like increasing everything. Like in the earlier days of browsers, this was the zoom was only increasing font size, so websites ended up being pretty ugly when zooming in. But nowadays this isn't much of a problem anymore. But people still tend to increase the default font size. So let me check where. Not seeing the settings anymore. So system preference. Okay, so let's do it like this. And it's actually quite easy to see what happens. Appearance, and then here font size, customize fonts, they're here. So font size by default is 16, and then when we increase, like here not much happens, but you will see when we do this. So this is our default, and now for people who like cannot see or read this small text, they might increase the font size. And here actually the logo, for example, doesn't increase, so it's still hard to read. But the rest, like, to be honest, it doesn't look so bad. But you can see that like this one, the menu item, the height doesn't change. So for somebody, like if you get really large, then suddenly everything overflows. The icons don't have the correct like relations anymore, the size relation. So yeah, maybe we should actually use more REM units here than pixel. And like border radius, I don't think it matters much, like for the user as well. Might not look as nice, but still pretty much usable. So we have viewed this one, left a comment here, left a comment here. Now let's continue here. This is the story. Looks, yeah, solid. Nothing to complain here. Now this one is the most complicated component that we have. So here again we have like pixel, pixel. This is actually a hard-coded media query, so something we should get rid of. This breakpoint should go to the theme. I read somewhere that we need to use EM units rather than REM, I guess, because of some bugs. Let's see, was it here? Media queries. Use EM, yeah, so let's just link to this answer here. Link there. So share. Now here, like, I think this gets more and more chaotic. It's not really easy to read. So it would be really nice to have something simpler, some utility functions or so. I actually logged a ticket for that because I had an idea for let's see. I had an idea for an API. So instead of like this, for example, theme colors gray 100 or theme spacing 4, theme spacing 8, we could have something like this, which would make it much easier to read, I think. I'm not sure if I should implement that or leave that as an exercise for the React job simulator that I'm building. Yeah, but I think this might be a good way to clean up the styles and make them more readable. But for now, we'll stick to this. Hard-coded breakpoint. Maybe these should also go to the theme. Okay, thanks, Grammarly. And this is also hard-coded. These are just basically reminders for myself to fix these. REM. Okay, I guess I will just find all and replace or something. Another thing that, like, I'm not sure. It's a personal preference, I guess, but this file became quite long, and some people like to split this, like the style components, into an own file and only keep the this component here. This might make sense here as well. I'm not sure, but the thing is that you should be consistent with this. So I will think about that and maybe refactor that in another session where we also refactor the folder structure. So this on first glance looks quite okay. This is just like a placeholder. We don't have functionality for that at the moment. I also logged the ticket because like yeah, pushing this in production to the user is actually not so cool, but I logged a ticket for the React Job Simulator here. This is something that the students there can actually implement just to warm up basically in the onboarding. And here's the navigation context. This looks also fine. Then we have the Cypress test without the not working mobile test at the moment. So package to JSON, some things added here, normalize. Yeah, so here's a comment that this person also keeps the style component separate in a separate folder. I like to do that as well usually. Here I didn't for now, but probably I will as well. The only problem that I see with this is that we have the there's an ESLint plugin, styled components, and accessibility. I'm not sure. ESLint. Yeah, this one here. And I guess it's this. Let me quickly see the Google sources here. I'm not sure. There was one ESLint plugin, and this didn't work when you have them in separate files, so that's consideration to keep in mind. Now continuing the code review. So we have the theme types. And then we have the global style, so this is also just setting the default font. And then we have the theme here. It all looks fine. We will probably add more colors here. Yeah, and then some TypeScript setup here. Yeah, so I only had some minor comments. So we can see them here now in this PR, the pull request overview, the conversations here. And now I would like slowly start adjusting those, or we could also start a discussion, but since I'm talking to myself here, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I guess for now that's this is enough. I will stop here. This has been already 1.5 hours. Yeah. So thanks a lot for watching, and see you the next time.